ketiga itu I put emphasis on delivering, karena menurut gue delivering a presentation is a verb that requires an object. Kita engage sama audience kan kayak gitu. So it's not about you presenting the idea, but it's also about people receiving your idea. Banyak orang yang ngerasa ketika gue harus present, so my job is udah bukan urusan gue. But presenting with impact dengan objektif yang pengen lo achieve, you actually have to understand your audience as well. Ini couple of things that you check before the presentation kan. Kayak audience lo itu kira-kira umurnya seberapa, level senioritasnya di perusahaan seperti apa, apakah dia orang yang knowledgeable atau enggak. And this will affect how he reacts to your presentation kan. Apakah dia bakal setuju, apakah dia bakal push nerima apa yang pengen lu sampaikan kayak gitu. So this can actually be prepared. Dan yang ketiga itu juga grup. Kalau misalnya lu presentasi di grup sekarang, you know what is the variation inside the group. Mungkin ada yang senior, ada yang junior, mungkin lu harus bisa lebih adjust bahasanya segala macam. So this thing can be prepared. Dan to the point that you can actually expect, oh, orang ini ntar bakal nanyanya seperti apa ya? Kira-kira orang ini bakal lebih suka topiknya seperti apa? If you know your audience well, you can actually prepare it up front. Jadi ketika lu bisa bawa presentasi yang lebih bisa engage dengan orangnya, it can actually run very smoothly. So this will also helps you to have a better confidence on running the presentation. Couple of points here, just ini mungkin nanti Michelle juga bakal share lebih lanjut juga di sesinya dia. Use collaborative language. Probably we can use like we instead of I. You can also try to quote like bahas dengan Bapak ini juga, seperti yang pernah diungkapkan Bapak ini juga kayak itu. That actually build like alliance with your audience. Balance telling and also asking. If you think that the message you want to deliver to the presentation itu kayak mungkin can be a difficult message, sometimes instead of like saying something that can be tricky, you can position it as a questions. So jadi misalnya ada satu business unit yang kayak kinerjanya jelek, instead of like telling, hey, this specific department perform poorly, lu bisa kayak lebih questioning kenapa ya kita turun di specifically market ini. Nanti people will actually engage more without necessarily being feel being attacked. Dan ketiga itu adalah if you know, I know you have agenda, but if your audience have their own interests, if your audience have their own issue, no matter how much you try to push your agenda, kalau people nggak mau engage, itu juga nggak akan engage. So listen to your audience. Bapaknya itu maunya ke sini. Oke, mungkin gue bakal try play around with that and bisa dapat landing smoothly into the ground sama bapaknya. Dan yang terakhir tuh why. I put it last, tapi sebenarnya ini paling penting, to have an objective in your presentation. So, mungkin kita pernah ngerasain datang ke suatu meeting yang kita nggak tahu ini sebenarnya tujuannya apa. Udah setengah jalan, tapi gue masih bingung ini sebenarnya ngomongin apa, tujuan meetingnya mau apa, dan itu jadi nggak jelas, meetingnya malah kemana-mana. That is because the presenter doesn't probably not kayak putting it up front, apa sih objektif yang dia mau achieve on this meeting and agree on it, atau dia tuh nggak prepare bahwa, atau dia have no control untuk kayak bikin meetingnya jadi lebih targeted kayak gitu. So define what is the objective of your presentation, know what to expect. Jadi kalau misalnya your objective itu adalah untuk minta alignment, be mindful about objective itu and trying to make sure that throughout the presentation you stick with your objective, dan apakah udah setengah jalan lu udah bakal achieve atau enggak objektif itu, and have a confidence that the audience will make things happen. Just a little bit of like a positive attitude. So these are a couple of example of like presentation objective. Apakah meeting lo itu objective, then make sure people understand what you say, kayak setuju atau nggak necessarily setuju, at least understand what is the insight, atau will they find it interesting or not to understand that insight. So you can play around with your presentation looking at that angle. Atau misalnya objektifnya itu, this meeting I want to people have a action point, Michelle ngerjain apa, Tessa ngerjain apa, and probably you want to close as a deadline juga, Michelle ngerjain apa, harus selesai kapan. So that way you can have like a very targeted presentation. And these are just like example ketika kayak misalnya lu mau buka meetingnya, kayak last time kita ngomongin tentang ini, hari ini objektif meeting ini apa-apa-apa. So that was the part that hopefully can help you to build the confidence. Second part is talking about this conviction. Kenapa sih kita itu jadi speaker harus convincing atau bisa meyakinkan orang? Secara natural, human brain itu crave for certainty. Karena kita udah banyak banget decision yang harus kita ambil, banyak juga confusion, sehingga kita mungkin otak kita juga ngerasain fatigue gitu. So when we engage with a speaker that is very convincing, it actually reduce some of the burden on our brain. I must say that conviction comes easier with people having more experience, but kita sekarang ini yang mungkin kayak probably some of you are still students, some of you are still just kayak starting your professional career, even me and Michelle mungkin belum punya that privilege to be very convincing. But it's something that you can actually build. So to be convincing, one, you have to have a good rapport. Make sure at least the thing that you present, you have to understand it. Dan ketika orang nanya, lo harus bisa kasih jawaban yang memuaskan. And the way to do it is just to prepare. Yang kedua, match the audience expectation. So if the audience have a very high expectation, ensure that you actually do it kayak gitu. Last is your focus on your value add. So have a good rapport in front of the audience that you have. Be professional. Yang kedua, itu having structure. The person yang bisa establish structure and get all of the audience itu kayak follow that structure is always perceived as yang lebih pintar. So the way for us to be convincing adalah ketika kita presentasi adalah you establish a structure, make sure that it's logically correct, people can actually follow, dan orang itu bisa ngerasa itu logis kayak gitu. If you have this, it's much easier to build a conviction inside you. Point yang kedua itu practice top-down communication, having a mindset of like very high level, and then you support your high level with like technical with details of each point that you say, and try to support that point with like key pointers, and then if needed you can go in details each of the details. Dan yang ketiga, be clear and try to avoid jargon. Jadi say what you want to say, jangan kemana-mana, be clear. I put emphasis here, avoid jargon. Contohnya, pernah nggak sih teman-teman ngerasain sekarang itu banyak banget orang yang gunain kata kayak misalnya milenial, segala hal itu dicap ini milenial, itu milenial, atau kayak something 4.0 gitu. If you actually don't understand about it and you use that kind of a jargon, itu bagi orang yang ngerti, itu justru ini orang gak ngerti ngomong apa, you lose the credibility and also trust from your audience. So that was a big part of a conviction. Last is on enthusiasm. So ini gue mau bilang, if it is about you get what you give, and enthusiasm is under our control, let's not bore our audience. Karena apa? Kalau lu boring, lu akan ngerasa your audience juga akan ngerasa bosan, dan kebosanan itulah yang akan dia kasih ke lu. Dan itu lu akan ngerasa, waduh ini kok audiensnya nggak engaging sama sekali, kayak ini audiensnya nggak asik, dan lu jadi makin going down to that spiral. Within your control, karena kan kalau confidence dan conviction itu ada banyak hal lain yang you have to build and probably something that is out of your control. Enthusiasm itu satu hal yang bisa lu control. So make sure you do it. To focus on visual and vocal. Ini ada sebenarnya lu bisa research juga banyak informasinya di internet. Dynamic posture, positive eye contact, expressive voice, and expressive mindset. So these are like couple of very important point. Terutama misalnya di positive eye contact ya. Sekarang kan mungkin teman-teman juga ngerasain kita meeting lewat Zoom, nggak bisa lagi tatap muka. Ketika yang kayak Zoom gini, if you don't maintain a good eye contact, itu susah banget bagi orang untuk engage lo. It's very hard for you to build trust. Misalnya kayak ketika gue ngomong tanpa video kayak gini, kepada orang yang gue nggak pernah ketemu sebelumnya, atau orang yang nggak familiar sama gue. It's very hard for me to build trust here. Tapi kalau ketika gue buka dan orang itu kenal muka gue, and actually do find that when I speak, I'm very passionate, I'm genuinely want to convey the message that I want to say, itu bakal lebih gampang untuk orangnya engage dengan lo. So, enthusiasm is not always you have to always have a very high energy, tetapi the way you speak, punya intonasi, pace, sometimes you also have to pause, you don't always to say something dengan kayak nada yang tinggi, sometimes lower down your voice, itu bakal juga bisa bikin orang lebih fokus dengan apa yang mau katakan.